Coming into last Sunday's game against the 49ers, there wasn't much optimism surrounding the Browns. The injuries were stacking up high, and experts and media personalities alike predicted a rout in San Francisco's favor. Everyone pretty much expected the 49ers to roll into Cleveland and just continue their undefeated season. But the Browns' defense sure didn't get that message. Outside of the long opening touchdown drive, the 49ers offense couldn't do much of anything. They were held to just 215 yards on Sunday, the lowest regular season total under Kyle Shanahan, and Brock Purdy suffered his first loss as the 49ers starting quarterback in the worst statistical game of his career. Going back to last season, defenses have tried a multitude of defensive schemes and strategies to try to slow down this Purdy-led 49ers offense, but to no avail. The Browns, however, on Sunday laid the blueprint on how to do so. Against the 49ers, defenses played nickel, which is a personnel grouping with two linebackers on the field, just 11% of the time. Conventionally, this makes sense, as defenses have thought to put three linebackers on the field in order to stop the run, which is what gets this 49ers offense going. The 49ers love to put extra tight ends and fullbacks on the field, run the football, and dominant defenses with their physicality, which is why most defensive coordinators have played nickel at such a low rate against them and have instead opted for more heavy personnel groupings. But Jim Schwartz had a different plan. He put two linebackers on the field 76.5% of the defensive snaps against the Niners, which is a huge difference compared to the 11% rate the rest of the league was playing. But it worked to perfection. When the Browns played nickel, they allowed just 1.3 yards per rush and 4.4 yards per coverage snap, compared to 6.5 yards per rush and 5.2 yards per coverage snap when they played base. The Browns' defense was significantly more effective in their nickel package against both the run and the pass because they had more speed on the field to fly around and cause disruption. Instead of playing into the 49ers' strategy by trying to out-physical them with heavy packages and extra linebackers, Schwartz countered by putting his quickest, lightest players on the field. JOK, who was considered undersized coming out of college and people wondered whether he could play against the run, was featured in a prominent role against the 49ers, which might have been surprising given how the 49ers are such a heavy rushing team. But JOK showed why, despite his lack of size, he can still play against the run because of his sheer athleticism. On this play, the 49ers call an inside zone with a pre-snap motion to get Juszczyk as the lead blocker. When the ball is snapped, JOK triggers downfield and violently engages the guard to drive him back and squeeze the space McCaffrey has to work with. He then watches McCaffrey's movement as he progresses through the run, disengages his block, and helps make the gang tackle for a minimal gain. JOK can win against offensive linemen on gritty, tough inside runs, and he can also make plays in space, like on this play. On this play, it's 2nd and 10, with 3 minutes in the game to go, and the Browns defense needs to get a stop down by 2 points. The 49ers call an outside zone in a tight formation with 21 personnel, and all indications are they're going to try to run this ball. When the ball is snapped, JOK fires through the gap like a rocket, leaps over and around the offensive lineman mid-air, completely contorting his body, and makes a shoestring tackle for a loss. This is just freakish athleticism and instincts on display from JOK, and he made a huge play that swung the game in the Browns' favor. Most defensive coordinators would scoff at the idea of playing fewer linebackers and featuring JOK as the prominent linebacker against one of the best rushing teams in the NFL. But it's also fair that most defensive coordinators don't have the defensive line that Jim Schwartz has. Most teams don't have the luxury to play undersized linebackers against the run because most teams don't have an elite defensive line to free up the second-level players. While Owusu-Koramoah and Delpit are able to fly into the backfield and make tackles, it's much easier to do that when you have Myles Garrett in front of you drawing a double team. Take this run play, for example. The 49ers are running a split zone with McCaffrey as the running back. Each defensive lineman does their part on this play to force the run for no gain. Alex Wright stays disciplined in his gap and prevents the cutback lane from opening. Both Dalvin Tomlinson and Jordan Elliott penetrate into the backfield and suffocate McCaffrey in the backfield. And Garrett gets off his block from Trent Williams, who is one of the best offensive linemen in the NFL, and pursues the ball carrier. This allows the second-level players to have a clear path to McCaffrey and gang tackle him in the open field without any blockers to worry about, because the defensive line drew the attention of them. The Browns' defense is on an all-time pace through the first part of this season, and are only beginning to show the extent of their versatility. They can win against high-octane passing attacks, and they can win against physical rushing attacks. People wondered whether this Browns defense would be able to take on such a high-powered offense against the 49ers, but they answered those doubts. Jim Schwartz has a ton of different chess pieces at his disposal, and he's using them very effectively. Whether this unit has a weakness that is yet to be exploited remains to be seen, but for now, the Browns defense is truly a nightmare for opposing offenses.
Yeah.